Hey guys, welcome to the channel. Just want to introduce you to Project Frankenstein, as I call it. This is a 1953 F100. So I actually picked this truck up from one of my wife's co-workers. He had it in his yard for about, I'm guessing about 7 years. His son had picked it up and figured he was going to do something with it, but like most people, lost interest. And he actually approached me and asked if I wanted this truck, otherwise he was just going to scrap it. So I picked this thing up for a relatively good price. Wasn't really going to dump a lot of money into it. Wasn't too into the Ford, and just like the older body style, so I thought this would be a cool project, and I just did a little LS swap. Just came as a roller, had a 9-inch rear end, but it looked like the guy had put it on his 60s F100 frame. Had the twin I-beam suspension that I wasn't too excited about. So I did some research online and came up with the Crown Vic front end swap that would give me the rack and pinion and the bigger brakes, and started to cut at the truck and cleaning out that twin I-beam in order to get the Crown Victoria front end in. So I headed to the junkyard, picked up my Crown Vic front end from a police interceptor, and I got it situated in. Lots of guys online, there's lots of info for this type of swap. You can find lots of stuff online for these. Went in quite well, as you can see. They mocked up pretty easy. Lots of guys will actually box these units in. I might pay for that later on, but I didn't box mine. The 60s frame, it's a little bit more curvy, and I was having some issues getting in some plate in there, so I left it open. So you can see width-wise, this Crown Vic swap actually lined up very nicely with the rear end. The rear end that was in this wasn't original to this truck, and it just happened to work out perfectly for width-wise. I also moved the whole Crown Vic front end an inch forward in the fender wells, as you can see. I'm not sure why Ford actually had these originally back an inch, and it left a really big gap in the fender. It looked kind of awkward, so lots of guys say they moved them forward, and I actually moved mine forward to create a little better gap there. Next up, I was actually shopping for my engine and trans, and I came across I believe it was an 07 2500 two-wheel drive truck. Had a 6-liter in it, an lq9. So I went out and picked that up. Transmission was no good. Went into first and stuff like that, but the reverse was shot, so I ended up pulling the transmission after pulling the engine and actually sending it in and having a local guy rebuild it. Did the shift kit, I think the transgo and torque converter. Increased the stall a little bit. Should be able to handle about 800 horse now. Not sure if I'll ever get there, but it just gives me some options if I want to turbocharge this or supercharge it later down the road. So it was nice. I had a complete part truck, so I was able to actually cut out the cross member out of the 2500 and weld it right into this truck where I needed it, and it worked great for the 4L80. I also had the engine semi sort of apart. I did a cam swap. I bought a sloppy stage 2 cam and put that in. Also did springs and a trunnion upgrade at this time while things were still apart. I was also able to pull the whole wiring harness. This one had the electronic drive-by-wire throttle body on it, and I was able to use a gas pedal. And eventually down the road, I should be able to use cruise and everything like that, so it'll make for a nice daily driver. So what I'll do is I'll leave you off on the first firing of this engine. I'll show you a quick little video of that. The original engine actually got moved out of this truck. It's in my Nova. You can see that on the right. But currently now there's a lq9 in it that I ended up replacing. And yeah, anyway, so I'll leave you with the sounds of that engine firing up. And until next time.